So I have a DM that I want to share with you guys today. This is a great question, and I thought it would be worth sharing on the show because I get asked this type of thing quite a bit, so maybe this will be beneficial to all. Anyway, this DM says, "Hey Ted, my name is Lucas. I am 17 and will soon be graduating high school. I am big into photography and have watched your videos for a long time. I'm starting to think about photography as a career. I'm really interested in commercial work, but people keep telling me it's not much of a career. Can you give me some advice on this? Thanks, Lucas." High school. I remember it well. And the closer you get to graduating, the more people in your life start giving you unsolicited advice on what you should be doing or what you shouldn't be doing, or what you can make money and be successful at and what you should avoid because you won't be successful. And of course, all this is delivered with the best intentions. People want you to be safe. They want you to be happy. They want you to be successful. But ultimately, that's something that you have to decide for yourself. Photography is one of those things that's not particularly easy, but I can tell you that I know many people who have successful careers as photographers doing commercial work. This business has changed a lot over the years, and I think that the secret, when I look at people that I know who are successful, is finding something that you're really good at that you can deliver in terms of photography, and then finding someone who is willing to pay for that. This may sound obvious, but it's very common for people who are doing creative work to get involved with the work that they believe is the most interesting and what they should be known for and compensated financially for, when in reality you have a customer base or an audience, and that's what you need to deliver on. If you can figure that out, you probably will be very successful. Today, commercial photography, for me at least, falls into one of two categories. You have stock photography. In other words, the work has already been produced, but you are selling the usage rights for a client to use. So this works perfectly with ad agencies, design studios that are under tight deadlines, a tight budget, and they want to be able to select an image that's already been made and purchase the rights to use it on a website or a brochure or in a TV commercial or whatever that usage happens to be. So that comes down to rights usage. The other category for me would be commercial photography in the sense that you're being hired to actually custom make an image. So it's a freelance job, and let's say it's architecture or it's a celebrity portrait, or it's something that you can't get stock photography for. So I'm not talking about event photography, I'm not talking about weddings, I'm not talking about working in-house necessarily, I'm talking about just commercial photography, and I think those are the two major fields that you need to be looking at. If you're interested in doing freelance work, I do know people who are very successful at it, but it also requires, in addition to being a good photographer, being a good business person and being good at networking. The best advice that I can give you, if that's the road you want to take, there's no easy way to get there, but I would find somebody to mentor with, somebody that you can go study with, apprentice with, carry their gear, make coffee, whatever, and observe what it is they're doing. Get to know them and get to understand the business. I think that's probably the best way to figure that out. But let's talk about stock photography, because this is something that an entire industry has built up around over the last 10 to 20 years where it's really started to grow. Essentially, you have a network of agencies that will deal with rights management. Now, they don't take the pictures. They act as agency to photographers who submit work. And so if you have a really good understanding of what clients are looking for in terms of what's popular that you see in advertising today, what kinds of things people need images for that aren't necessarily as specific as a celebrity portrait or a product shot, something that they would go to an agency to get. If you have a really good feel and a really good handle on it and you're doing good work, you can probably be making extra money selling your work, if not just making it a full-time career. I know people who do both. I know people who do freelance work that also deal with rights management and stock photography with a whole other catalog of work that they do. And I know people that that's all they do is stock photography, and they're really successful at it. So you have stock agencies, which include companies like Shutterstock, Adobe, Getty Images, and what they do is they do the business interface with the client. And so the client might include a graphic design studio, or maybe it's an ad agency, maybe it's even in-house at a large corporation. And let's say that I'm an art director at an agency and I am working on a television commercial and I need some specific types of photography. I can go to one of these stockbrokers' websites, I can look through the catalog, and I can say, hey, I want these 3 images and it's going to cost this. So for a one-time fee, I am allowed to use those images for that specific ad placement. Now, the cool thing is, as photographers, if you're working through one of these agencies and you get an image that's really in demand and pretty popular, you can resell it. So it might be used in a TV ad in one client's situation, and it might be used later in a brochure, or it might be used in a catalog, or whatever that ends up being in the end. So this could be a very lucrative way if you have the right images of making money. Now, the downside to all of this is it's a lot of work because you have multiple agencies. There are more than 3. There are a lot of them. And so basically when you submit images, there's paperwork that you have to do in terms of model releases, keyword search, all those kinds of things to make your metadata searchable, and you're competing with other images in there. And this can kind of turn into a full-time job, and you're trying to figure out, well, which agencies are worth my time and what's worth my energy and what's going to pay off the most. So this can be lucrative, but if you're going to be successful at it, it's also pretty labor intensive. But I have another resource that I can share with you guys who happen to be our sponsor today. It's a company called Wirestock, and Wirestock essentially is a one-stop service where you can upload all of your images and your keywords one time, and Wirestock will deliver them to all of the major stock agencies. So this includes Shutterstock, Adobe, iStock/Getty, Dreamstime, Alamy, Deposit Photos, Pond5. So instead of opening accounts on each and every site, the creator is going to open one account, submit their images, and then basically in one place you've got them submitted everywhere. Now, one of the unique and most valuable features of Wirestock is that they provide a free feature of submitting images without actually having to add keywords, descriptions, titles, and categories. This is the only tool that provides this service for free. You have the ability to track and collect all of your earnings from a single site. And so this is what's really cool about Wirestock. They provide a single dashboard for tracking all of the sales from all agencies, and it allows withdrawing from all their royalties from sites with a single request. So one other cool feature, since we're talking about this in the context of commercial photography, and a really important business skill that people need to have just in general, whether it's photography or not, is the ability to adapt to situations. And photography has changed a lot in the last 20 or 30 years. And I remember when we started moving to this model of stock photography and rights usage, a lot of people were not willing to adapt to that, and they thought of it as a cheapening of the industry, and it created quite a big stir with a lot of photographers. It was just a different way of working, and there's a lot of people who found success with that. And I think as it started to grow even more, you have multiple stock agencies, so it creates a new problem for photographers in terms of how do I find the best distribution for my work. And the fact that you can do all this in one place, I think Wirestock is an awesome tool in terms of that adaptability if you're interested in doing stock work. So I would even challenge you to do this. Click on the link in the show description, sign up for a free account, go ahead and upload maybe 10 or 15 of your best images, submit them across the board to all the stock sites, and see what happens. Now, don't expect to get rich quick overnight. You may see some success, but what you really need to be looking for is, are your images the kinds of things that people want to buy through stock? If you can kind of follow that and you can understand that there's a customer and you can meet those needs, I think you can be really successful at this. So Lucas, I hope this answers your question, and hopefully this has been beneficial to somebody else out there. I think this is actually a really interesting topic. It's something that I haven't covered in a while. I did a lot of stuff on business a couple of years ago, and then, we ebb and flow into different types of content, and I haven't revisited it much since. I would love to know what you guys think. I think the photography business, or any creative work for that matter, can be challenging because of the way that some people view it and the amount of work and effort and understanding that needs to be involved if you're going to be successful with that. I would love to know what you guys think. Drop me a comment below and let me know if you would like to see more content on the business side of things. Until the next video, I'll see you guys then. Later.